What is up, everybody? Joshua Casper back at you with Plugin Boutique, and I got a really great tutorial for you today. I'm going to be showing you how to make some really cool and unique bass sounds using Imagine from Expressive E. This synthesizer has been blowing my mind since I got my hands on it. Now, there are a ton of videos out there on the web already that really showcase the true potential of what Imagine can do, but I haven't seen a lot of tutorials focusing on how to make a specific sound. Now, I would say that this instrument, because it's using Applied Acoustic Systems technology, their modeling technology, really excels at mallet type instruments. But trust me when I say that this synth has so much more potential than that. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a really cool and unique sub. And along the way, I'm going to give you the ins and outs of the synth itself. So once you grab it from pluginboutique.com, you'll feel right at home and you can jump in and start making your sounds. Now, the first thing to notice is everything in this project outside of the drums is driven by Imagine. So let me just go ahead and bypass the drums. Literally everything in the project driven by Imagine. So let's go ahead and just start with a new instance of Imagine on the sub bass chain here. When you load the instrument, you'll have Imagine in it, which is the initial patch, and it sounds like this on the bass notes that we have. Let me go ahead and solo the channel. So right off the bat, you already get sort of like an island vibe, and that's because island vibes generally come from mallet type instruments. But let me just show you presets real quick. We've got arpeggios, bass, bells, keys, leads, mallets, organs, pads, plucks, soundscapes, and more. Trust me, absolutely phenomenal. But I want to keep this focused, and we're going to be making some bass. So over here is where we can choose the instrument. We've got essentially two instruments here. We've got a left and a right instrument. If I come in here, I can choose if it's going to be an exciter from a mallet. So this is going to be like your short attack. Think about mallet instruments. Or noise, and this is going to be like a constant exciter. So if you're going for a pad sound or a soundscape, you're going to want to choose noise. And then there's also a sequencer. Choose one, validate. We'll get my sequences down here. Okay, so I'm obviously looking for a mallet, or maybe not obviously, but I'm looking for a mallet, and I'm going to go skin string, which is right here. And let's just cycle through a couple of them. I'm going to go ahead and choose this first one, which is called Celestia Drum. Now, I want you to pay attention here. You aren't just limited to this. Once you have one of these, you have all of these different instruments inside of there that utilize the skin and string, for example. So again, validate. And I'm going to go ahead and bypass this other one for a second. And that's where we are. I'm going to go ahead and drop it down 2 octaves. And pull up the gain. Now just listen to that right there. That bass is perfect for so many things. I'm thinking like deep house. And we're already well on our way. But obviously we're looking for a sub, so it's going to be a little bit different. But I'm really digging it. In fact, let me come over here and pull it up a little bit more. Cool. Now this really does a lot to the sound. And I also want to shout out just the graphics here. It's just beautiful. I love that it's not just a static image. It really showcases that a lot is going on. But let's listen to what happens as I introduce this. So I'm not really going to be using that for this particular thing, but when you jump in and start playing with some of the presets, you're going to want to tweak out this expression parameter, and it does so much to the sound. So you're going to want to put that on maybe one of the macros and route it to one of the envelopes, or put it on your modulation control on your keyboard, whatever you want to do. Don't sleep on this control. But let's keep moving like I said. Okay, so the shine control is kind of making me lose the heavy bassiness that I'm looking for with my sub. And that's what I'm talking about. Now let's see what happens as we introduce the mute control. So it's like the mute control is removing some of those upper harmonics from it and giving me just a solid sub. And I think right there in the middle is the sweet spot for this particular project. Yeah, I'm digging it. The position is, so if you imagine we have a mallet hitting the skin, which is vibrating the strings, where on that skin are you going to be hitting it? And where you hit it is going to change what happens to the sound. And we can actually have control of that, but let's just go ahead and see what happens when we tweak out this parameter. So for this sub bass hit, I'm digging the position where it is. But again, if I'm looking for more harmonic information, yeah. So, I mean, they're all working together in very interesting ways. But I'm really digging it when it's completely off. And now we can choose the impact. So this is the shape or the type of exciter. We have a mallet, but we can actually go up to a brush. And I just want to shout out again, all of these have great animations, including this one. It goes from a mallet to a brush. It's fantastic. Let's listen to what it does to the sound. So even right here, we're getting that little bit of niceness on the top. I don't think we need that because I'm actually going to use this second instrument to go ahead and add the attack transient there. But let's just leave it there for now. What I'm going to do from here, I'm just going to turn off that instrument, come over here and turn on this one, and let's go ahead and choose an instrument. Remember, noise is for a more sustained, constant excitation. So we want to come in and choose a mallet again, and we can go with whatever we want. I think for this, I'm going to go bar and tube, bam boomba, validate. I'm going to pull down the release time here. And again, we've just got these 4 parameters to mix and match until we have a sound that we like. So because we're going to be using it with a sub, I'm going to keep this shine parameter pretty much to the right. And I can come back and mix it in later once I have the sub combined with this. Essentially, when you unmute, you're allowing the vibration to happen longer, and that is going to work directly with the release time over here. All right, I'm pretty happy. Let's see what they sound like together. Okay, now I'm not going to use any modulation for this particular patch. And in fact, before I explain the modulation, let me just see what it sounds like with the track. All right. I think I'm going to... All right, yeah. So this is working really well. Let's talk about modulation for a second. So you've got 4 macro controls. And the macro controls, if I hit this button, anything that's highlighted can be mapped to a macro. And if I come into the effects page, that's the same thing. All of these effects parameters can be mapped to any one of the macros, and then each one of the macros has a dedicated envelope over here. We've got a few different ones to choose from. It's a multi-stage envelope. You have control over the minimum and maximum values. You can come in and draw your own shapes. You have control of how it plays through. You're syncing. You can turn the sync off and go by hertz. And to turn on the envelope, you just go ahead and do this. And you'll see that it'll start to follow that. And if I put that on, say, the dry wet of the stereo delay, it will follow that path. Now, I don't need to have that on, and I can just use the macro control. You'll see that it's going to work the same way from 0 to 100, whatever I put on that value. But if you are looking to have an envelope, you just turn it on. And again, that's on a per macro basis. So I actually don't need that there. Lots of really great effects in here, including this nice plate reverb. I really dig the stereo delay as well. Very, very cool. Another cool thing too is we actually have a few different algorithms that we can choose from for the two expressive effects here. If I come in and choose something like distortion, I'll now have a mountain drive for the distortion. Let me actually take this up a little bit. Oh, it just sounds so good, man. And we have up to 2 of these different algorithms, quite a few things to choose from. And on top of that, we also have an EQ, a compressor over here if we want to get a little bit louder, and vibrato and frequency shifters over here as well. It really is an incredible instrument, and the sounds that come out of this thing are going to blow your mind. So I guess the last thing to do is listen to the patch in the context of the track and see if we've done a good job. And yeah, the initial patch I had didn't have this distortion on it, but I'm feeling that distortion. Yeah, it's a little too clean without that distortion. Fantastic. I guess I'll just play, before we wrap up here, the other patches that I have here. Just a second bass there, and then these chords. What I did was took those, that and another patch, bounced it and reversed it to make this little group down here. And then finally, we got a little bit of melodic content for the background. This synth has been blowing my mind since I've had my hands on it, and I look forward to doing more in more specific tutorials. So if there's something you want to hear, let me know, or if there's something you want to learn how to do, let me know in the comments, and I'll read those and try to get a video out to you as soon as I can. As always, I'm Joshua Casper. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next video.